The big piece of advice that I want to give you today is that you can go viral doing anything. So, what do you actually want to do? I first came up with this mindset a few years ago when I was trying to figure out what business model to get into. And I was trying all these different models, and you've probably tried them as well. Okay, there's like content creation, drop shipping, SMMA, agencies, copyright, and all these different types of ways to make money, along with some careers that I was interested in, like the military as well. And I remember it was so hard to decide which pathway to go down up until I asked myself the question, all of these can make money. Which one do you actually want to do? And that's when I chose YouTube and content creation and basically just like teaching some lessons that I've learned. We can use that same mindset of like, you can make money doing anything. So which thing do you actually want to do? We can use the same mindset, but for content creation and to go viral. Like you can go viral, you can grow an audience, get views, and even make money from basically talking about like anything and doing anything on camera. So what do you actually want to do? Right now, if you're watching this, you've been posting some content recently, you might have sort of tunnel visioned yourself into thinking that you have to post content like this and it needs to be like this and you need to have this kind of personality, this kind of niche, this kind of messaging, because that's the way that you'll make money and go viral. But I'm telling you right now, you can make money and go viral posting about anything with any kind of personality, with any kind of messaging on social media. So instead of thinking that you are correctly guessing the sort of market and you know what kind of niche is the best to make money in, because the truth is you don't. Instead of like having this ego of thinking you know what niche is the best, you know what kind of messaging is the best that's going to make you the money, how about you just forget money entirely for a second and ask yourself, okay, if money didn't exist, or for example, if you were already, you had like 100 million in the bank, and let's say you had like 100 million followers already. Let's say you already had tons of clout, tons of money, and you are literally just making content to spread a message. What message would you spread now? And how would your energy be? So let's first talk about the message, like the niche. What topics would you talk about? Really just ask yourself that question. What topics would I talk about if I was already rich and famous? Just for the sake of basically like helping humanity and teaching people something. Maybe drawing attention to some kind of cause, like, I don't know, like climate change or microplastics or air pollution or something. Or teaching things that people can use to improve their lives, like self-improvement, fitness, diet, sleep, trauma, business, whatever. What would you do at that point? That's like, what topics would you talk about? And it doesn't just have to be one, by the way. Ideally, yeah, sure, with making money, it's just one. But just ask yourself maybe what's the major one topic, and then maybe what's like the top sort of 1 to 3 topics that you would talk about, that you just feel like you really have to speak about. And now what's a really interesting one as well, and I think this is something you maybe haven't thought about. What personality would you show on camera if you were always going to get viral? Like, a lot of us actually believe, especially if you've watched me from my self-improvement channel, I've seen a lot of young guys who will make content, like they join my program and I kind of review their videos. And I see them implementing the sort of like angry, masculine, Hamza, Andrew Tate kind of mindset. The sort of personality, the way they talk, they look so angry. And I always think, like, most of the time I look at them and I'm like, I don't think that's authentic. I don't think that's actually you. I think you're doing that because you think you're more likely to go viral that way, but you're not. It's actually kind of cringe when like some kid does it and he doesn't have the sort of personality to back it. So imagine, for the second big question here, imagine every piece of content you post is going to go viral no matter what. No matter what. What personality of yours would you like to show more? Do you want it to be the angry kind of thing? It could be. You might think, you know what, that's the sort of energy the world needs. They need more of this sort of masculine, sort of drill sergeant father figure. And for many years, that's what I chose. But for you, is it authentic? Is that the energy you enjoy being in? For me, it was for a long time. I think I'm kind of like starting to sort of transition out of that now, because I kind of like left my like anger phase. Like I've shouted at you as much as possible. I'm getting into more of like a sort of wholesome part of my life where I'm not as angry, I'm not as like, like shouting. As I get older and older, like, I started this business when I was like 22, 23 years old. Now that I'm 28 and I'm getting closer to like father age, I want to start to lose that sort of angry part of me that's like shouting at you for doing it wrong, and starting to be a lot more like compassionate and empathetic and understanding, but still, masculine and certain at the same time. So ask yourself that question, like the two big questions. What topics would you talk about if you were going to go viral no matter what? And what kind of your personality would you talk about if you were going to go viral no matter what? And it may be very different from what you've been doing already or what you were planning to. Because a lot of us believe that like, the way that we'll get viral or make money is if we talk about that niche, or if we act like this. But honestly, that's all bullshit. Like, we all think we have like the correct assessment of the market. And yeah, if I speak about this niche, I'll pop off more. Oh yeah, that niche is easier to make money. No. You don't know the shit, bro. I don't know shit. I've got 300 million views, like long form views on my main channel. I still don't know shit. I've got millions of followers. I'm telling you right now, I have no clue what video is going to go viral. I have none. I'm telling you right now, even the big fucking creators, even them, that like nobody fucking knows what's gonna go actually like viral or not. People, yeah, sure, they have like a really high level of skill so they can make basically anything go viral, but they won't know what video is gonna perform better than the next one. There's an element of sort of randomness and luck and probability and the culture that constantly evolves. So really, instead of you thinking about the money and the views and the followers and the niche and all this stuff, what do you actually want to post? What message do you feel in your heart is so important to get out to people? Because I promise, if you lean into that, you will work so much harder. You'll be more productive, more consistent. When you won't ever quit if you genuinely are working from your heart, thinking that this piece of advice needs to be out there. And I mess up all the time, by the way. I often, every now and then, I'll really start focusing on the money, the views, and I'll start to think, okay, I've got to start to post content like this because that's going to make me more money. And whenever I think like that, my channel plateaus like fucking hard. And I don't even make more money anyway. But whenever I live from the heart and I wake up with like this burn inside of me to think, fuck me, I've got to record that video. And often it's about a topic that I hardly speak about, that I'm so certain is not going to make me money. Like, I'm speaking about how to improve your relationship with your family. That's the video that usually it doesn't even get fucking views. It gets way less views than the other ones, but it converts more random viewers into true fans who then go and buy the programs that I sell. I'm telling you right now, in this kind of business, when you really obsess over money and views, you end up getting less of them compared to you really feeling in your heart what advice you really got to give to your followers, what message the world needs to hear. And this is true, by the way, also for the format of the content as well. So if I asked you again, if you could go viral like fucking crazy, if you were already a millionaire, whatever, everything you've got already, what format would you make your videos? Would you do like rage bait content? Would you do like, have you seen like Greg Doucette? He's like a fitness YouTuber, and his entire channel is just him like arguing with people on the internet, and he gets a lot of views. But what a miserable life that must be. Right? What a miserable life to like every day look at other people and think, oh, I'm going to make a video about him. He messed up. Oh, I'm going to make a video about him. And you know what I mean? And look, I made this mistake recently. If you follow me on Instagram, for a while, I posted what we were calling the cuck reels, where I would get clips of guys who were being kind of like little beta males with their girlfriends. Their girlfriends were maybe like dancing with another guy. And the guy stood there, like the boyfriend, he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. I'm confident. And it was just like a silly clip of me pointing to like this chair in my room to basically say, okay, this guy's a cuck. He's fine with this girl getting fucked by other guys. I was getting millions of views when I was posting this. One of them got like 4 million, 5 million, 6 million. I started getting thousands of followers. My Instagram was plateaued before this, and it started to grow for the first time in like a fucking year. And I got like 16 million views in a week, right? Imagine, for an Instagram that I was like barely using. Very quickly it was working. But I stopped and I journaled, and I was like, look, if you already had all the success in the world, all the followers, is this the kind of content you'd be posting? Yeah, it is funny. Like, I wasn't completely against it, and I might post some more in the future, because I was like, you know what, it's pretty fucking funny. And I'm getting a lot of DMs from guys telling me that they really enjoy it, they find it funny. They were sending me reels, and it's kind of funny to shame. Like these fucking guys who would look to guys like us who've got standards in a relationship, like you don't want your girl to go out drinking, dancing next to guys. And these sort of boyfriends that I was making fun of, they'd look at us and be like, oh, you guys are insecure. My girl goes out and dances next to guys all the time, but I'm secure. So it felt kind of purposeful to make fun of those little retards. But still, I was like, you know what? If I was already as rich as I wanted, already like as famous as I wanted, I wouldn't be posting this kind of content. I just wouldn't. I'd just post educational content that I didn't care about the views, the money. I just want to like spread I want to teach a really good lesson that's genuinely going to make people better. So I stopped doing it. I just stopped. I had a format that was working, that was getting views, and I just stopped because I was like, bro, you don't want to spend your life just dying for the sort of end result, like the money, the views, sex, muscles, whatever. You don't want to be focused on just the external, the extrinsic metric. You want to focus on the internal, the now, the presence. If you focus so much on the results, you'll be kind of like the guy who starts at the gym and starts taking steroids super early in his gym life. And then, you know what's interesting? Because he's taking steroids just because he wants muscle, not because he enjoys the training. That guy who takes steroids in like the first year of training often builds a shitter physique than the guy who really enjoys the training and just keeps training forever. The guy who's just obsessed with having sex chooses a worse girlfriend to have sex with because he's just focused on sex than the guy who's not just focused on sex, he's focused on the girl herself to think, okay, has she got good values, character, whatever. And then that guy ends up having tons of sex anyway. Do you see, like, when you focus on the end result, a lot of the times you don't even get it, or it's even worse. And it's the case with content, especially if you're not going to post like entertainment content, which if you're watching my channel, you're probably not going to. You want to be more of like a teacher. You want to spread like an educational message. Don't believe that there's some kind of niche where you're going to blow up faster or something. Don't believe that. Don't believe that there's some kind of video that you're going to get more views with or anything like that. Choose the one that you want to do, even if you could not get any external result like money, followers, whatever, at all. Now ask, what kind of content would you post? What messaging would you have? And one piece of advice which I thought was so interesting is, what version of yourself do you want to grow? If you've already been posting to social media, you'll know this. Especially like, again, educational, self-improvement kind of content, fitness, whatever. Whatever topic you speak about a lot and whatever advice you give a lot, you end up taking yourself even more. Like, for example, if I every day come to the camera and I tell you to lift weights, I'm gonna be more consistent in lifting weights, right? Of course. If, for example, every day I came to the camera and told you, stretch and don't lift so many weights because you'll get too bulky and it doesn't feel good, so make sure you stretch and do yoga, I would start to lose muscle and I would start to stretch more. So ask yourself, what version of you do you want to grow more? What topic, and also inside of the topic, what kind of messaging do you want to push more? Do you want to be telling people really sad, dark things? This is why I don't try so much to speak a lot about the sort of, the standard self-improvement. Oh, guys, I'm a fucking loser and I jacked off 6 times when I was younger. Because I don't want to keep myself in that kind of energy, right? Still, I'll tell those stories. Still, I'll make a video about porn is bad and stuff. But the idea is what personality do you want to grow in your own personal life? Because when you post about it and when you show that personality to the internet, you'll be held accountable to it. So let's say, for example, you've been posting some content and now you're realizing, oh yeah, shit, you know what? I've been posting in that sort of angry drill sergeant Hamza kind of way, and I'm not sure if I actually want more of that in my personality. Be careful. Because you'd make content like that thinking that, oh, well, it'll get me viral because it worked for Hamza, it worked for Andrew Tate, but it might not actually work for you. In fact, if it's inauthentic, it probably is going to be less likely to work. But also then, I promise, in your own daily life, you'll start to talk to yourself like that. You'll start to talk to your girlfriend, your family, your friends like that. And if it's something which is wholesome and positive, okay, sweet, fair enough. But imagine you're talking in your content in a lot of people make rage bait content. They're actually trying to trigger people to get views because that's kind of used to work 5 years ago on TikTok or something, to be very polarizing. Nowadays, you just look like a fucking mong who's overly trying to get viral and it's just fucking cringe. When being cool is a good thing, trying to be cool is so fucking uncool, right? Being polarizing is good. Trying to be polarizing is fucking cringe. You shouldn't even ever think about polarizing people. You should just have the confidence to talk about your values and you'll naturally polarize people. But imagine if you start to show a part of your personality on the camera where you're kind of making it sort of more extreme. And then you have to almost live up to that in your personal life. And now your personal life is almost getting worse, but you're thinking, oh, but I'll get some views this way because if you're more angry on camera, you'll get more views. But no, because bro, there's so many people who are popping off like crazy and they're not angry on camera at all. They're actually super healthy, happy, peaceful. You'll see, bro, like there'll be a video on the homepage where it's just some guy smiling and he seems so happy, he gets 1 million views. You'll see some guy who looks angry, he gets 1 million views. You'll see some guy who seems depressed, he gets 1 million views. Excited, 1 million views. Like every kind of fucking personality is getting viral these days. Every kind of messaging is getting viral. If you tell people lose weight, you'll go viral. If you tell people, no, I'm not going to lose weight, I'm happy being fat, you'll go viral. You'll go viral with basically fucking everything these days. Everything. Any kind of personality, any kind of messaging can get you viral. So really ask yourself, instead of just being obsessed with the end result of the views, the followers, the subscribers and stuff, the money, ask yourself, what messaging, what version of you do you want to bring out and you want the world to be more like? Genuinely, if you don't think about the money at all, like I know it almost feels hard to detach your work away from the end result, but what work do you want to leave this planet with? Like this is your craft. This is your craft. Like, how our ancestors had blacksmiths and hunters and fucking spiritual sages and mothers and warriors. This is your craft, and imagine changing your craft, like one of the most important things in life, the thing that you're going to get mastery in, the thing that's going to heavily define you and your life experiences. Imagine changing it for the whims of like social media views and the changing algorithms. If you chase the algorithm, the views, the monies, there'll be times where you might get a bit viral. There'll be times where you also kind of fall off. If you only just keep making your content on your heart and the things you want to actually talk about, there'll be times where you get viral and there'll be times where you don't. It's going to be the same either way, right? You understand this, right? The person who chases the algorithm and really tries to get as many views, yeah, he gets some videos that get views, of course. But he also gets a lot of videos that don't get views. You could probably think of a few big YouTubers who are like really good at YouTube. And some of their videos do really fucking well. Some of them don't. Every creator you look at, some of their videos get 1 million, 2 million, 3 million views, and some of them get like 100K, 50K. And they chase the views. They're basically selling their soul and getting decent results. But what's interesting is the guy who just makes the content from the soul, from the heart, and just focusing on like purpose and genuine helping people. He still gets videos that gets million views, 2, 3 million anyway. And he also gets some that don't pop off. But the one thing he has as the foundation is that he's always been working from his heart. He gets to go to sleep at night, not thinking, oh man, gotta get more views, oh, I'm not getting sales. But just like, oh yeah, what message should I spread to my audience tomorrow? Either way, you're gonna get some content that pops off and gets views, and you're gonna get some content that doesn't. Either way, whether you're obsessed over the results or you're not. Let's say you build yourself up and you want like some feminine energy in your life. You want like a girlfriend in your life. If you obsess over just the end result of sex, you'll end up getting a girl who you've chosen for sex, who often will be a worse girlfriend, and in a weird way, you'll end up having less sex with overall because of the sort of arguments and the sort of disagreements you have. If you're less obsessed with sex, it's still something you want, but you're more focused on the sort of input, which is the girl herself, you'll end up having the sex anyway, but you'll also have like a fucking good time with the girl and you'll see something, develop for the future. Can you see how like just focusing on the end result can really fuck you up? And this is something I've had to learn because I'm like a very like results driven guy. I like setting a goal and making progress to it. And that's okay. But if setting that goal, like for example, 100,000 subscribers, 10K a month, whatever, if setting that goal starts to change your actions towards the path, then the goal kind of is fucking you up. The same, like think about it with the muscle analogy. Okay, you want to build the 10 out of 10 physique. Okay, so same. But imagine if you set the goal to build a physique and then because that's the North Star, the goal, you'll start to think of what's the fastest way for me to do that. And then you consider taking steroids. Now, of course, chances are you're not going to take steroids to build your physique because you can do it naturally. Okay, sweet. But trying to chase the algorithm is kind of like taking steroids where like it might work and it does work for some people, but also it doesn't work for a lot of people. And so in the end, it kind of averages out to basically working the same percentage as like just doing it the way which it was naturally supposed to be done. The only difference is the people who do things naturally, whether it's sports or it's like business, they just end up having like better mental health and more joy from it. Like think about the quality of your brain how much enjoyment you'll have if you just detach from the result and you just keep asking yourself, like, what message should I send out to the people today? What message does the world need to hear? Imagine how like purposeful that feels compared to like, oh, what's going to get me views? Oh, this one got 76 views, that one got 35, whatever. In both cases, if you post consistently, you level up some of the basics, like your speaking skills, you get some advice from like a YouTuber who's telling you, okay, this is how you can improve. You should change the background. Okay, your mic's not so good. You should speak like this. Whatever. In both cases, if you level up some of the foundations, the guy who chases the views and the guy who just fucking chases his heart, both of them will get some videos that go viral. Both of them will build a successful business. 1 month, this guy might make more money. The next month, this guy might make more money. The only difference is this guy's mental health is fucking shit because he's focused on the end result. This guy's mental health is so powerful because he's literally woke up in the morning, made a coffee, and really, like, you know, like sat slowly with a journal in front of him today. Like, yeah, what message does my audience need? Do my people need today? You know, my avatar, like the sort of person I'm helping, like I'm helping younger me, I'm helping like younger Hamza. What message did he need? What did he need from me? What like a wholesome, heartfelt way to make money and to have an impact. And when you live from that kind of energy and then you go viral and then you make money, I promise you it's like the best thing ever. It's the best of both worlds. When you live from just chasing the money and changing your sort of actions for the money and the views, it's only worth it when you get the money and the views. And when you get them, you're kind of like, okay, sweet, it was worth it. When you are living from your heart and you're making the kind of content that you genuinely feel is so helpful to people, even if you're not getting many views or whatever, you feel really good because you're like, you know what? I guarantee this has helped someone and this is so purposeful, sweet. But then when you pop off, when you start getting views and money, you feel like, okay, this is helping people, but I'm also getting rich at the same time. Can you see now why I genuinely feel like I'm living probably like the best life you could as a human? Where I'm rich as fuck, bro. I'm 28 years old. I'm rich as fuck. Over 100K a month profit, not income, profit. There's nothing in my calendar that I don't want. I don't have to like, I have no alarms on my fucking phone. I wake up at what time I want. I go to sleep at what time I want. I do what I want with my day. I decide when I want to record or not. My day is complete freedom. I'm rich as fuck. I'm so wealthy. And I've also helped millions of guys to do wholesome things like get into the gym, meditate, gratitude, get away from porn. Can you see what, like, I live the best life possible? And you might say, okay, well, Hamza, you can say this because you're already rich, but I need to chase the money first. And then when I've got the money, then I can switch over to more of the sort of wholesome thing. But I'm telling you right now, like, I've always been on more of the wholesome thing. You know, I've had some seasons, sure, where I've like kind of focused on the money too much or whatever, but often in those seasons, I don't even make the money anyway. But I was doing this from the start. Like from the start, I was living from the heart. I think this is why I popped off and made money in the first place. Everyone's chasing money. Everyone's chasing pussy. Everyone's chasing muscle. Everyone's chasing the end result. That's not competitive. That's the same as everyone else now. Everyone is chasing those things. What makes you special is you focus on the input that you feel like is so right for you to just continue with like so much enthusiasm, with so much heart. That's how you'll attract the better girl. That's how you'll post content that ends up like, you know, changing lives and making you money at the same time. Focus on the input. Focus on the thing that you actually feel like the world needs from you. It's such a different game when you do this. And it's so weird, you know why? Because this is like some weird spiritual thing, but it's so weird. When you focus on making the money and getting views and you're like, okay, I'm just going to make content that makes money because I'll make the money first, then I'll switch over. You end up not making the fucking money. It's so weird. People can just smell it. You know, like how girls can smell when you're desperate for pussy. Viewers can smell when you're desperate for money and views, and then they get the ick. Just like girls, if you go up to a girl and she can tell you're like desperate for pussy, and she instantly gets unattracted to you, even if you're a successful, tall, handsome, whatever, she can smell it, and she's so off with you. Viewers on social media, they can tell when you're just grinding for views and for sales, and then they'll feel like this ick towards you. But when you go up to the girl with this kind of energy of attractiveness, abundance, like you don't even need her, you're not desperate for pussy, you're just an attractive guy seeing if she's like a fun girl to be around, she's drawn to you. When you are posting content and you're not obsessed over money and sales and views, but you're just posting content for this act of giving like a message, your viewers can tell, and then they want to buy from you. So it's literally the best case scenario. But the skill of this, the challenge, at least for me, is I think like this, and I make a way more progress. It feels so fulfilling. You know, I write my scripts in a book and I really sit there with slowness and I really make some like really fucking good YouTube videos and I start seeing more sales. And then when I see more sales, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so close to like 2,500 members in my community. Okay, I can get more sales. My goal is 150K, and then I start switching over to the money side again. Because look, everything in this world is going to be telling you to push more towards that end outcome. That's like the type of world we live in. So this requires discipline from you, grounding, constant reminders for you to live this path of like, just live from your heart, live from the genuine advice. Don't obsess over the pussy. Don't obsess over the money. Don't obsess over the muscle. Live from the intrinsic act itself. And every day you'll feel the pull towards, oh man, oh yeah, followers, I'm almost at 1,000 followers. Try and just take a breath whenever you realize that you're chasing the external result again. Take a breath and just remind yourself, you'll get there automatically without even thinking about those numbers if you just make the best content you can. Not the Mr. Beast style content, but if you give out the best, most wholesome advice and it comes from the place of like really wanting to share like a really good message rather than hoping that that video gets you fucking people in your email opt-ins and pages and products and whatever. You'll get those things passively without even looking at them. You'll get pussy passively without even thinking about it when you just live from like the sort of abundance place. People can tell. You know this, right? When I give you the analogy of the girl, you can tell. People can so tell when you're needy and desperate. Girls can tell when you're really desperate for pussy. Viewers, when you record content, I promise you, they can tell when you're so desperate for money and sales and views that they get this ick and they don't even want to watch you anymore. Humans have like an inherent genetic skill of recognizing neediness and desperation in someone, and it gives us the ick. It gives us like this repellent away from them. So what the advice I'm giving you, which is that you can basically post about anything with any kind of personality, so you may as well post about the thing that's actually like heartfelt for you, and you may as well not obsess over the result. In a weird way, I promise you, this is going to make you more money than focusing on the money itself. You'll make more muscle when you focus on just having the best workout that's super fun and then you never want to quit, compared to just focusing on the muscle and optimizing for the muscle and then basically quitting because now you're doing some weird fucking upside down bicep curl variation that Jeff Nippard's been telling you to do. You know this is true. Stay working from your heart.